Give me a P, P, give me an H, H, give me a B, B, what do you say? Hey, give me a P, P, give me an H, H, give me a B, B, what do you say? Hey, hey everybody, welcome to our Promote Her Business Promotion Pro series. My name is Josephine Hannon, but you can call me Jose. I'm the founder of Promote Her Business and our SV chapter president. At Promote Her Business, it is our mission to promote your business and each other, say it with me now, online, offline, all the time. Absolutely. Chills. I love it. I love it. And for everybody who is a new member of our community, every year we identify the top 12 best practices in marketing and sales today. And then we do 2 interviews or trainings about those really super sizzling hot topics each month. So this month we're starting the year off right by just diving right into our marketing strategy. Because we want to think before we spend. We want to what? Think before we what? Spend. And that's a big missing for most people. They just, run off and try to get customers, and they don't really always think about what they're doing or if it's the best investment of their time or their money or their energy. So that's why we do these trainings, so that you really are clear about what's out there before you invest in it, or how to optimize what you're doing if you've already invested in it. Okay, does that make sense? And today I'm super excited because we are talking about what's super, super hot in 2018 and the latest and greatest marketing trends. So you are ahead of the curve. Right? Because at PHB, we're all about having the ultimate promotional advantage, and the only way to have it is to stay ahead of the curve and keep learning proactively. Okay? So today I have the pleasure of introducing an expert who I know extremely well and I'm a raving fan of, and that is me. Look, we have to, especially as women and male allies, we have to know the times it's appropriate to promote other people, and then we have to know the times it's appropriate to promote ourselves and our own knowledge, right? I love this quote by Guy Kiyosaki, who said, if you don't toot your own horn, don't complain that there's no music. So I give you full permission to toot your own horn when you are the expert in the room that can really support people. And in terms of marketing strategy, I am definitely an expert who would love to support you. So that's why I'm the expert for today. So in terms of objectives, what we're discussing today is really fourfold. One, we're going to have you quickly assess yourself as a marketing strategist, because we are more than business owners. If we want to stay in business and thrive in business, we also have to be strategic about our marketing, right? We wear many hats. The second thing is I want to talk about avoiding common marketing spending mistakes. The third thing is to look at marketing trends identified by trusted marketing sources and articles. And finally, you're going to really have the opportunity to evaluate what's hot and what's not for where you want to take your specific business. Okay? There you go. So that's what we're going to be doing. And let's start with assessing yourself. So I want to make sure that you have out your handout that I sent you. It was in your email. It looks a little bit like, let me grab this. It looks not even a little bit, but it looks a lot like this. It says, thinking through your 2018 marketing strategy. hashtag Here We Grow, because that is our conference theme, and the theme of 2018 is women entrepreneurs and male allies. It's all about growing ourselves, our business, and our network, right? So make sure you have out this handout as we go through this, because you're going to want to take some copious notes so you can really analyze where you're at, okay? So we're going to start by assessing where you are in terms of planning out your marketing strategy on a yearly basis, because you can't improve what you can't measure. And you want to objectively give yourself a rating so that year over year you can continue to improve. So I want you to think back on 2017, and I want you to ask yourself, what has failure to plan any part of your marketing cost you? So this could be in terms of time, money, effort, watching other people on your team pass you by. But really thinking back, like when you didn't plan everything you could have planned, what did it really cost you? And I want you to go ahead and write that down, because that's also going to help you give yourself a rating. Okay. So now I want you to give yourself that rating. I want you to think about when you've planned in 2017, when you didn't plan in 2017, what it cost you not to plan in 2017, and just overall, what would you rate yourself as a marketing strategist who doesn't just buy things last minute just to get customers, but rather, actually proactively takes your marketing by the horns? So would you give yourself a 1 being you never are strategic, you just kind of throw money at things? Or is it 10 that you never buy until you analyze and you really make sure it's best for your business and your target market? So go ahead and write your number down. And then what I want you to do is I want you to really think about, when you put together a kick-ass marketing strategy for 2018, what can you foresee benefiting from? And what I mean by that is, when you really have this awesome marketing strategy, how will it benefit you and your business? Maybe personally, you feel more confident. Maybe personally, you are really proud of yourself for being able to have a strategy that you've seen works for other people in your industry, and you're just really proud that you're tracking it and committed to it, and thinking like a marketer. Or maybe when you have the strategy, you see it impacting your business in a very specific way or expanding into a new target market. So I just want you to really go ahead and write down, what difference will it make when you are strategic and not just reactive with your marketing for 2018? Great. And I know those questions were not on the handout, so if you want to write them just on the back of the handout, or you just want to write them just in the margin, that's totally fine. So you should just have your number of how you rated yourself as a marketing strategist, as well as what it costs you not to plan, as well as how you'll benefit, right? Wonderful. Okay, good. So the next thing is, we're going to talk about avoiding mistakes, just really common mistakes that I see people make in terms of their marketing spend. So I see most people as reactive in terms of their marketing. So a lot of times what entrepreneurs are doing is they're just doing whatever they did last year. No thought about it. Okay, well, I always go to this group. I've never got a referral from anybody, and I'm just going to stay in that group. Or I've been doing Facebook ads, so I'm just going to continue doing Facebook ads. I'm not really getting any traction. I'm not paying anybody to show me how to do it in a way that actually gives me conversions, but I'm just going to keep spending on that just because I've spent on it and maybe it will work sometime, somehow. So that's an example of a common mistake. It's just doing it because you've been doing it, and even if it's not producing a return. The next common mistake I see is people spending from desperation. So, you just being on this webinar today, you're already ahead of the curve. But a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs out there, there's just different times of the year they get desperate. They're like, oh, I'm having this event, people aren't there. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I got to get people in the room. Let's just spend money. Let's promote it. Let's do more. Let's do more. Let's pay this. Let's do this. And it's really from the lack of strategic planning, and it's more just reacting, right? So that's a common mistake. And then the third common mistake is you are just investing in something just because everybody else is doing it, right? Like you look around, it seems like it's really hot. Oh, she's on Instagram. Oh, she's on Instagram. Oh, he's on Instagram. Okay, maybe I should be on Instagram. But you really have no idea if your audience is on Instagram, if, how much time or money or effort to spend on Instagram, or if it will even work for what your products and services are. So the thing is, it's a very common mistake to just go with the curve without really doing that proper analysis, okay? And at PHP, we want you to think before you spend and really understand what it is that you're getting into proactively, so that when you do decide to invest, and marketing's an investment, not an expense, because it's something that produces a return. So when you invest in it, the goal is to get more than whatever you paid for in that investment. Does that make sense? So in order to do that, you have to understand the investment, and that's why year-round we're constantly teaching you new best practices in marketing and sales, so you can see if it's right for you and make that informed decision and avoid all these mistakes, right? Of just spending to spend, or being desperate, or just doing what everyone else is doing, okay? So next, we're gonna go back to your handout, and I want you to write down your top 3 celebration goals. So I want you to think about, when did you join PHP, right? And write down that date or around the time frame, because how we're doing celebration goals is from the time you join to a year later is the time frame in which we as a team and a chapter are really supporting your celebration goals. So it's from one membership year to the next. So you want to know when you're committing to have your celebration goals accomplished by, which means you have to know when you did your Advantage session, right? So you know it's a year from that, okay? Now, I want you to write down, what are your 3 celebration goals? And these are celebration goals because they're what is worth celebrating in a year time frame. So it's something that, like, if you were going to do it anyway, if every year you have 50 customers and you're like, oh, my goal is to have 50 customers, it doesn't really stretch you. It might not really excite you. And when you hit it, you're not going to really necessarily want to celebrate. So you want to set goals that are realistic, but on the same note, like, stretch you and get you excited and tie into your big vision, okay? So make sure that you have down your top 3 goals. And this is also really important because when you're evaluating different marketing strategies, you want to make sure that these strategies are ultimately going to tie into where you ultimately want to end up, right? So if, let's say, one of your goals is to really get known as a speaker, let's say, then probably in terms of your marketing strategy, you're going to want to do things where people actually see your face and hear your voice, and you don't just outsource the whole thing and post things and nobody gets to know you and your personality. So that's why it's important to really always have your celebration goals in the back of your head, and not only in the back of your head, at the front of your mind, so that you can directly see a correlation between the marketing strategies you're using and ultimately what you want to accomplish. Because it's not always just about getting customers. It could also be about positioning yourself in a certain way, and making sure that those channels reflect the way that you want to get known as well. Okay? So great. So next, let me move this for a sec. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to analyze some of the hottest trends predicted for 2018. And I took these, I didn't make these up, I got them from Entrepreneur, Forbes, and Dynamic Marketing's top 10 marketing trends for small businesses, which are all credible sources of trends. Now, to be clear, this is not an exhaustive list. That means that there are trends that are not on here that I'm sure are happening in 2018, but I am going to talk to you about as many as I can that I know are hot. I'm hearing from other people as well. I'm reading articles about these, so you won't be surprised when you see them. But once again, just because they're hot doesn't necessarily mean they're for you or you should spend on them, but you should know about them so you can make an informed decision. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, great. So let's talk through some of these trends. And I'm gonna do it just one by one, and then I'll talk you through how to evaluate the trends as well. Okay. So first, and these are in no particular order, there are just trends that are across different articles. The first trend is live streaming. And what that means is really using your mobile device a lot more so that people can see you live. Like we do that at PHB for our second Tuesday, right? We announce the Ultimate Promotion Contest winner through Facebook Live. So in real time, people are seeing who won, they're commenting, they're going to that person's link. It's this like really big deal, right? Because they feel like they're there even though they're not there, right? They still feel like, oh, I know what's going on, I saw it, right? So that's a very hot trend. If you haven't really looked into Facebook Live and Instagram Live, that's something to definitely look into. And so now what you're going to do is, so I'm going to explain this, and then you're going to want to go through all these columns and really answer the question so it can help you make an informed decision if this type of marketing trend is right for you. So for example, I'm not going to do this for all these, but I'll just do it for the first one so you kind of get the hang of it. Is are you currently doing it? Are you currently, let's say, using Facebook Live? The next question is, should you be doing it? Do you feel like your audience would see what you're posting, you know, whoever you're targeting? Do you feel like you want to be in the spotlight, or maybe there's somebody else that could be in the spotlight that represents your team? You know, so that's also important. It's should you be doing it, and you could be you as your business or you personally. There's two ways to look at that. Then you want to look at, on a scale of 1 to 10, you want to see how important is this strategy to your year's success, okay? So let's say one of your goals, once again, is to be a famous speaker. You know, you might want to do a lot of Facebook Lives, right? So people know your face, they see you in real time, they start to comment. You can even use your Facebook Lives, repurpose them, and, you know, be able to put an ebook together. You can put a signature speech together. It's all about repurposing, right? Posting some of the things you're saying on social media. So if I was a speaker, I might say to myself, oh yeah, I want more people to hear me and see my face. And I'm not saying this is true or not for you as all speakers, but what I am saying is you want to start tying whatever your goals are back to those strategies. Does that make sense? And not just do it just because other people are doing it. Okay. So I want you to directly see, how does this strategy affect your celebration goals? Do you think that doing Facebook Live is, you know, let's say more important than doing your own live events? Or is doing Facebook Live more important than doing a webinar? Or is doing Facebook Live more important than doing an ebook if you're a speaker? You know, so it's like those kind of things that you're really looking at the big picture of everything you could be doing. And that's why you're giving yourself a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. So you can later go back and say, oh yeah, I see this as directly related. I gave this an 8, I gave this a 6. Okay, so I gave live streaming an 8, I gave ebooks a 6. So I'm gonna focus on live streaming. Does that make sense? So you have like a concrete number attached to the strategy. The next question is, what do you want to research about this? So, you know, you might be thinking to yourself, oh yeah, I like the idea of Facebook Live, I like the idea of videos, but you know what, I am a horrible photographer, videographer person. I have no idea about lighting or what I should wear, or the best place to film it, or how to handle noise issues, or tech-wise, what to record on. You know, so you want to write down those types of questions. Or do you even want to get introduced to an expert? In our community, in our PHP community, we have 2 experts just off the top of my head that are awesome at videography. One is Abhi and the other is Avni. And you know, if you have questions, anything about video, definitely talk to them, because they can help you really create that professional environment. Okay. So maybe your next step is to talk to an expert. Maybe your next step is to do some of your own research. Maybe your next step is just to give it a try and see how it goes. Okay. So that's what you want to do for each of these strategies. Okay. So I'm going to talk through as many as I can. And you can go through, and you're probably going to need some time after this call to, you know, really finalize everything, but just be filling it out as I'm talking about it. Okay. So the second thing is explainer videos and brand trailers. And what this is just a video, a short video that's usually anywhere from 60 seconds to 3 minutes that really explains who you are, what you do, and why people should buy from you, or what really differentiates you. And video is really, really hot. I wanted to show you, let me see. I wanted to show you this quote, which says that videos and brand trailers are essential in 2018 as mobile video consumption grows. A study by Wirebuzz found that short videos are 4 times more likely to be consumed on a website versus text. So that's really, I mean, that's pretty compelling, right? That short videos are 4 times more likely to be consumed on a website versus text. So really, you know, thinking about videos is an important time, especially at this juncture where people want things, they want it fast, they want it compelling, you know, they want it exciting and educational too, right? So there you go. The next thing that everyone's talking about is mobile geofences, and this sounds like a fancy term. It is. You might not have heard it called this, but you might have heard of this, which is basically having the ability to market, promote whatever you're selling to people's cell phones in a short radius from you. So you can like broadcast out to people in a local area. It could be, you know, within the block, it could be a few miles, but really as long as people have their location on their phones, which a lot of people still do, you can broadcast to people in a certain area. Okay, so that's called geofencing. Another trend is blogging. And this is, you know, sometimes classic works, right? Writing is writing is writing. Writing has been transformed in terms of the mediums we're using, but it's still writing. So writing is in. The cool thing about blogging is, once again, I'm a big fan of repurposing. So you write an ebook, you repurpose your content into a speech, into a blog, into social media posts, into a series that you could use for your video sequence or your Facebook Lives. So I want you to also start thinking about these things in terms of a synergistic strategy. So if you do one, you might be able to trickle it over into other mediums as well. Does that make sense? And the last thing I'll say about blogging is, if you are interested in blogging, what I highly recommend that you do is you are proactive as opposed to reactive, and actually ahead of time, you start deciding the articles you're going to write, the themes of those, how they directly tie into your offers, so that it's not random and you're not just writing anything and then you don't get really the traction you're looking from it. Okay, and I'd be happy to talk to you about that more if that is a strategy you're interested in. The next thing is brand stories. And I thought this was really interesting, especially because, I mean, there's so many people that are doing what we're doing and selling what we're selling. Of course, we have the best ones, but the world doesn't always know that, right? And so it's really hard if you're in a price war. So you want people to buy on value, not buy on price. And one way to really show you're more than a commodity is to sell your differentiation, which comes from your brand story. And this is something that we've definitely talked about in our High Powered Connectors course. If you haven't done High Powered Connectors, put it on your calendar for 2018, because you want to have a branding card for your personal brand and also your business brand. And this is also where your brand story comes in as well. I'll give you an example for Promote Her Business. I would never tell you to do something we're not doing ourselves. I actually wrote a whole blog about PHB's brand story. Like, how did we come to be? And it was this whole evolution, and I'll actually show you the article. If you ever go to promoteherbusiness.com, you can read the whole thing. It's under valued articles, and it's just called PHB Uncensored, Our Evolution. And it really talks about us being real and showing you our scars so that you don't get the same scars that we had as an organization. And I talk about how we go from initially having an idea that went nowhere to totally being horrible at promoting and hard to sell what PHB was, to doing so much that nobody knew who we were, to really struggling between being profitable and making a difference for people. And then I ended with where we are today. So, I mean, it's a really great story of how PHB came to be, but I'd also recommend to read it just because it could give you ideas on how to do your brand story and real sells. It really does. I mean, we're in an age of authenticity where the feminine is powerful, right? And feminine goes with being ourselves, being authentic, you know, telling our stories from the heart. And so this is the time to do it. And if you feel like that's an energy you want to be in, that might, you know, be an interesting way to go with your business. Okay. And once again, it's all about repurposing. You could take that brand story, you could make it a blog, you could incorporate it into your book, into your webinars, into your signature speeches. So once again, you want to be thinking about how you can synergistically use this and repurpose as well. Okay. And with that said, you can't do everything at once. So you have to start somewhere. And that's why, once again, as I'm going through this, I really do want you to be filling out all these columns and being like, am I already doing this? Should I be doing this? If it's not me, should someone else do this? Somebody else could also be a virtual assistant. Somebody else could be a ghostwriter. Somebody else could be your co-founder. You know, it doesn't always have to be you, but it might still be something you want done on behalf of your business. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so the next thing is that's hot is AI live chat. And AI, you know what AI stands for? Artificial intelligence. Yeah, I mean, that sounded like scary, like 20 years ago. I was like, ooh, creepy. That sounds like a movie. And now it's like real, right? It's totally real. And people are using artificial intelligence more and more, especially in terms of communicating with customers and even live chats. So you're going to be seeing this a lot more with artificial intelligence. I was just looking at IBM, and they have this whole, if you look at this, they have this whole section about AI technologies and using these AI technologies to really support the insurance industry, you know, and create insurance solutions, whether it's underwriting, virtual conversations, customer insight. So this is not just like somewhere out there in the future. Artificial intelligence is something that's really going on today and being utilized. Okay. So let's go on to our next one. In-car ads. So in terms of in-car ads, self-driving cars are more and more common. Right, and I wanted to actually take a little piece of another article and show you it. So let me go to, let me go to this. Okay, so this was in Entrepreneur, and you can see that self-driving cars are on the horizon. Waymo fleet of self-driving cars has driven 3 million autonomous miles and simulated over 1 billion miles. Uber recently ordered 24,000 Volvo SUVs to be outfitted with the latest self-driving tech, and the Tesla models S, X, and 3, the Audi A8, and the Mercedes-Benz S-Class are all self-driving. And so it's really a question of, as we get more and more into this trend of cars driving themselves, the question is, what are people doing, right? And more importantly, what are people looking at? You know, it's kind of like we're turning our cars into public transportation, right? In some respects. So it's like, what are you going to read when you're on the train? What are you going to read when you're now in your car and it's self-driving, right? And so people, marketers are really starting to experiment with new content for in-car ads. Okay. Another part of this is voice optimized content. You know, like what we've seen with Siri and just being able to really talk and get things to do what we want them to do. Okay, Google, right? So we, you know, so in the past it was all about optimizing for mobile. That was a really big thing. Oh my gosh, are people going to buy stuff through their phone? Yes, they do. And now it's like people are really looking into optimizing for voice. So it's not just about mobile, but it's also about, you know, voice recognition and having websites be able to work with people voicing what they want. So that's something else to look into. Another thing is Instagram. And we did, Ariel Asher was our expert who walked us through Instagram in the past. So if you haven't listened to that replay, definitely go back and listen, because Instagram is definitely a hot trend on the horizon. And yes, Instagram is owned by Facebook. So that's something important to note as well. The next thing to think about is live events, oldies but goodies as well. It's one thing to get on other people's stages, but what's really cool is when you create your own events, you create your own rules, right? And you're able to really do things the way that you want to do them with your brand and present yourself in the way you want to present yourself. So looking at live events is also a great tool. Not going away anytime soon. We also had a whole training based on Meetup. So if you want to go back and listen to Sunil, who talked all about Meetup and how many people are using Meetup to really exponentially build their audience through Meetup and different strategies for live events, definitely go back and listen to that. But go ahead and see if live events are something you're looking at. And once again, live events could be a training, it could be an introduction, it could be a retreat. A live event could be a client appreciation event. For many industries, it actually costs more to get new customers than it does to retain the ones you have and upsell them in your funnel. So, doing some client appreciation events are always a great idea. And someone to talk to is Kristen Rice. Kristen Rice does wine parties at home where she brings the vineyard to you. And, they could be really great client appreciation events too. So something else to think about. Then we have LinkedIn. Also really great, especially for B2B. And, just getting your message out there to professionals oftentimes even have a higher income potential than people on, let's say, Facebook. So definitely be looking at LinkedIn as well. And we did do a whole training on LinkedIn with Sandra Clark. So if you want to go back and listen to the replay of LinkedIn, feel free to go and do that. And then we have influencer marketing. And influencer marketing is really interesting. There was actually a whole article that I sent you earlier. And once again, I'm getting all these trends from a combination of these three articles. But Forbes actually thought that influencer marketing was so important that they dedicated an entire article to it and no other strategy but just influencer marketing. So if you haven't read about influencer marketing, it's a really important thing to know about. And basically it's about not just pushing things out to the masses, but really about collaborating with influencers or being able to leverage influencers who have a lot of followers to endorse whatever you're selling or to pay attention to what those influencers are doing and comment and show how your expertise can help their following. So that's pretty much influencer marketing. And let me just give you a couple of quotes that I thought were important. So let me grab this. So Charlie Xavier, he's a YouTube comedian with over 8 million followers. And one thing that he said that I thought was really interesting was he said, "We're finally in a place where major brands have now completed their proof of concept campaigns and will be shifting a massive piece of their budgets from mainstream marketing over to influencers. Next year is going to be our year as creators. I'm excited to see what comes and to see how brands who really get it will execute breakthrough ideas and continue to push the boundaries of advertising and marketing. So you can see this trend of going from just pushing things out just to everybody versus finding people who your customers respect and listen to and really be able to better leverage those influencers. Or even be a brand ambassador potentially for other people, because maybe you're an influencer or maybe you're a thought leader and other people would love it if you endorsed whatever they're doing as well. And you can also even have have a talk with your promotion partners about this. Because they might be influencers to your clients and vice versa. And how can you better leverage that situation and collaborate, right? And once again, if you haven't built your dream team of promotion partners, which is a one-year agreement with each other to just really hit it out of the park in terms of referrals and collaborations and joint events, and just being there for each other over the next year, I highly, highly recommend that it's something you do put down as part of your marketing strategy. And PHB and our leadership team would love to introduce you to potential promotion partners as well, okay? And finally, I want you to think about what are other ideas that we didn't talk about, because like I said, this is not a totally comprehensive, exhaustive list. There's always other things that, might help you that you want to look into that we haven't mentioned. So maybe you want to do Twilio, or you want to write down about networking groups in general, or you want to write down more about getting on other people's stages, or you want to talk about ebooks or webinars. There's a lot of other strategies you could be using. So make sure that you're writing those down as well. And once again, use the system to evaluate especially how important this strategy is to what you want to accomplish overall with your next year's goals. How quickly do you think each of these strategies will ultimately get you to where you want to go? And that's how you want to prioritize. And also ask us, ask me, ask our PHB leadership team. Be like, hey, I really want to try out this or this strategy. Do you know an expert that can support me? Do you know somebody that can help me outsource this? Do you know somebody who is doing something similar that I could just talk to? And we're here for you, but we can't help you if you don't tell us, right? So put together your strategy and then ask for support, okay? And then finally, what you want to do is you want to write down your top 5 marketing picks in order of priority. So after you go through each of these, you answer each of these different questions for all of this, add your own. Then you want to pick your top 5, and you want to put it in order of priority, because if you try to do too much too soon, you just get overwhelmed and burned out, and then you don't end up doing anything, right? Or you do it really sloppy and you don't really accomplish in any one area because you're just have too much that you're trying to juggle all at once. So that's why you want to just pick your top 5 in order, and really focus in on each one and what it looks like to be successful. What does it mean to get a return in that area? How much on average does it cost to do that strategy? What kind of results are other people getting that are doing something similar to you? Maybe you even want to look, on that medium or whatever way that you're committed to promoting yourself. See what's going on in your category, in your classification, how are other people doing it? So you have an idea of what's really going on, and that can also help you prioritize what's most effective at getting you ultimately where you want to go to accomplish your 3 annual celebration goals, okay? So there you have it. No, I gave you lots of info today. I'm not sorry that I did that because I know you can handle it. You're a very bright and brilliant crowd of high achievers. And I'm really excited. I want you to share with us your top 5 marketing picks. Feel free to post them. Let us in your world. Let us know what you're up to. Let us know that, this year I'm really going to focus my attention on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. Those are my top 3 strategy. Who else is doing this? I'm curious what other people are doing. Post to our Promotion Pro Facebook group. Let us know what you're up to. Also, let us know what you're up to because maybe we want to see it. If you're like, oh, I'm doing Facebook Live videos, people might want to actually participate in your group. Give us that option. Let us know how you're marketing yourself. Okay, and it also helps us be a role model to each other. And think of new creative ways to partner with our promotion partners. You might be like, oh, I want to do more video stuff. Oh, it'd be so cool if I could interview my promotion partners. It's a win for them. It's a win for me. I don't have to do all the content. It's easy for them to answer. We both get to promote to both our audiences, right? So, but be transparent. Let us know. Let them know. Also tell your promotion partners, send out an email to your promotion partners or text them or whatever you do. And be like, hey, these are the top ways I'm promoting my business this year. Are you thinking that's the way you want to promote yourself too? Let's talk about it, right? You never know what will come out of that conversation that could be very lucrative for both your businesses, okay? Especially if you're playing on the same channels. So what's next? Well, feel free to contact me if you have any questions about anything we talked about today. I'd be happy to do a 15-minute marketing strategy consult with you about anything you're thinking about or to refer you to experts in any areas. I also work with clients on anything related to writing or copy or writing marketing materials. So let me know if that's something that's interesting to you. And here's my info, jose@promoteherbusiness.com, and my cell phone, okay? And then in terms of next steps and what's coming up with PHB is this Friday on lucky January 5th at my home in Campbell, where the Linnea Hagen, she was our expert last month of our end of the year Power Up. And she is going to be facilitating a mini retreat that's all about really reflecting and growing so we can move into the first 100 days of the new year, which sets the tone for the entire year of 2018. So you're definitely going to want to be there. Make sure you RSVP, and this can also be a good opportunity to talk to people about what they're doing with their marketing too, in the first 100 days of the year. 2 other opportunities to just talk to our community and find out what other people are doing is one, next week, second Tuesday, we have our Ultimate Promotion Contest and our networking event. So make sure to RSVP for that, and you can talk to people there, find out what they're doing, find out what channels they're on, promote them on their favorite channels. It's an exciting opportunity to reconnect with the community in a fun way with a format no other group is doing, right? Very empowering. And then second, we also are having our 4th Wednesday luncheon and marketing strategy roundtable, where we will directly be comparing and sharing best practices in our marketing strategies. So definitely come with your top 5 picks of where you're thinking to play in terms of marketing yourself and your business. Okay? So very, very exciting. And finally, make sure immediately after this training that you do fill out our survey, because it allows me and our leadership team to really see what are you interested in hearing about, what's working, what's not working, what are other topics you want us to cover. And especially after you do your top 5 picks, we want to know what those are and, see if we can have an expert cover, the picks that you're interested in. So we really do read them, we take them seriously, and you can win a biggest difference in your business session just by taking 2 minutes to give us the survey. Okay, and also it's good for your own business to kind of see how surveys are done if you want to start using them in your own business as well. Okay, so thank you for being with us today, for continuing to grow yourself and grow your business and grow your network, right? This is the year of growth, right? Hashtag here, capital W, capital E, grow. Here we grow as women entrepreneurs, as male allies, as a community that cares about having the best 2018 ever. So keep promoting yourself, keep promoting your business, keep promoting each other. Say it with me now, online, offline, all the time, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.